Hi, this is Alex Fernandez with Bud and Doug Walters Auto Sales in Kalamazoo. Today I'll be covering the features on this 2018 Subaru Crosstrek Premium. We'll start by covering the touchscreen, the buttons below it, the climate control, some buttons in our center console here. Then we'll work our way over to our steering wheel, the stalks behind it, a couple things up above us here, and some buttons on our left side. Coming back to the touchscreen, the screen we're seeing right now is our home page. That is accessible by pressing this button here, or a digital version in the top left corner of the screen. This home page gives us access to the primary functions of this system: our radio, the apps, settings, media, and phone. I'll start with radio. You'll see here we're listening to FM radio, and along the bottom of our screen we have our presets, of which there are 3 total pages, giving us 18 slots. On the left side of the screen here we have the ability to switch between AM and FM radio. Right now we're on FM. If we wanted to change our station, we could use this tuning dial here, or we can use our seek buttons just beneath the screen as well. On the left we have volume and power knob, and that tuning dial that I talked about earlier, which we could also use by holding. And that'll allow us to actually access the sound settings, adjusting bass and treble and mid-range and things like that. To set a preset, all we have to do is choose the station we'd like using either those seek buttons or the tuning dial, and then press and hold in whichever slot we'd like to use until that station has programmed. Going back to our home page, if we go to apps, you'll see we have Pandora, Apple CarPlay, AHA, and Android Auto. Pandora and AHA are both an internet radio application which you can run on a compatible smartphone as well as on the car here. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are 2 programs that will allow you to, with a compatible smartphone and USB cable, plug the phone into the car and access things like Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, music, podcasts, phone calls, and text messages, all right on the screen of the car. And you're able to use voice commands for all of those functions as well to make it safer and easier to use. Going back to our home page, we have media. Media is where we'd go if we were listening to anything other than the radio. We have USB, Bluetooth, and auxiliary available to us there. Phone section allows us to connect a Bluetooth capable device and make and receive phone calls hands-free in the car. This particular vehicle has no phones connected right now, but you'll see in the top right corner, add device is available to us, where we're able to add a new device, delete previous devices, switch between current devices. Whatever you need to do can be done from there. Moving down, we have our climate control settings. We have 3 dials here. This dial on the left is going to adjust the fan's location, where which vents are going to be putting out air. In the middle we have our fan speed, and on the left we have temperature. Within each of these dials there is a button. We have the rear defroster and heated side view mirrors within that dial. We have our recirculate mode here, and we have air conditioning down on the end. You notice the hazard lights just above. Looking down, we have our heated seats for driver and passenger front seats. We have high and low settings for those. And we also have X mode, which is a Subaru feature that's designed to be used in more extreme off-road or inclement terrain situations. Looking over at the steering wheel, this particular Crosstrek is equipped with Subaru's EyeSight package, which is their bundle of safety driver assistance features. In this case, we have available to us on the steering wheel here our cruise control, which is adaptive, allowing us to not only adjust the speed of the vehicle, but also the distance that the vehicle should maintain with other cars in front of it. We also have our lane keep assist button here in the bottom right. What that will do with clearly marked road markings, if the vehicle were to drift out of the lane, it would alert the driver, and if the driver did not intervene, then the vehicle would attempt to move the car back into its lane. To use this cruise control, we use our on switch here, and you'll see in the display in the gauge cluster, some information appears to us there once that happens. Once we've turned on the cruise, looking back to the steering wheel here, we'd press down to set our speed. Once it'd been set, we could click up to the plus sign to accelerate, down to the minus sign to slow down, and then tapping the on button again would actually function as cancel in this case. These two buttons here allow us to adjust the distance that we want this vehicle to maintain with those in front of it. It uses camera systems and sensors to detect vehicles in front of it and slow down and speed up with the flow of traffic given the speed you have set with that cruise control. On the left side of our steering wheel, we have volume controls for our audio. We have a left and a right button which would cycle through presets on the radio or skip a track where we're listening to something like Bluetooth audio. The source button allows us to change between AM, FM, Bluetooth, and whatever else is available as sources of audio. And the info button toggles through information in that top screen there. Just beneath here, we do have 3 buttons, arrows, and a information and set button. Those buttons, when pulled, cycle through the information displayed in the gauge cluster here. Trip information, fuel economy, digital speed readout, things of that nature. Looking behind the wheel, we do have our windshield wipers here. A single click up on the stalk would move that wipers one time. If we click down the first click, we have intermittent, which we can adjust here. And then we have low speed and high speed available after that. Rear wiper has 3 positions: the off position, the intermittent position, and the on position. The front and the rear wipers both have washers available. To spray the front windshield, we would pull the stalk towards us, and to spray the rear, we would rotate the end of the dial here, either all the way up to the top or all the way down to the bottom, and hold for as long as we'd want it spraying. On the left side stalk, we have our headlight controls. Headlights are automatic. They're set there now. They'll come on at night as needed and shut off during the day, and you'll have running lights. This vehicle is also equipped with fog lights, which will link up to the auto feature of the headlights and turn on as necessary when it is dark enough. You'll see just behind the stalk here, we have a trip and reset button. We can use that to reset trip A and trip B, which tracks distance and average miles per gallon. Down below us here, we have a couple of buttons. SRF, which stands for steering responsive fog lights. That allows the fog lights to turn at a slight angle with the steering wheel to better light your path at night if you're driving down a twisty road. Below that, we have the button to turn off traction control, which is on by default every time you start the vehicle. To the right there, we have the button to turn off our blind spot monitor system, which is present in that gloss black portion there of the side view mirrors on both the driver and passenger side. That will illuminate orange when a vehicle is present in the blind spot. This scroll wheel here allows us to adjust the brightness of the interior lighting when the headlights are flipped on. On the door here, we have our window switches, our window lock, door locks, and our mirror adjustments for our power side view mirrors. Looking up above, we have dome lights, a switch to determine whether the door is opening, turns those dome lights on. We have an information and an SOS button, which are part of Subaru's IntelliLink or Starlink system. That's a subscription-based service from Subaru. Last 2 buttons there, we have our buttons to turn off some features of the EyeSight driver assistance system. We have our lane departure warning, which is again on by default, but we can turn off if so choosing to do so. And the last button we have there is to turn off the forward collision braking. If the vehicle's coming up on slower or stopped traffic and the driver does not apply the brakes, the vehicle will attempt to warn the driver and apply the brakes if absolutely necessary. On the mirror here, we do have HomeLink programmable garage door buttons, as well as a compass display within this auto-dimming rear mirror. Those are the primary features of this Subaru Crosstrek. If you have any questions or we can help in any other way, please refer to us at waltersautosales.com or please call at 269-375-7008 to set up an appointment or with any questions that you have. Thank you.